welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Kathy from Sassy Kathy's Vanilla Shop. And so I am like literally going to dive into this. We have a lot of things that we want to talk to you guys about today. And first, let's kick things off by Kathy, can you just tell us a little bit first about yourself and
Sure.
then a little bit about your business and what it
Sure.
is that you sell and do?
Sure. Sounds good. Thanks for having me today,
Awesome.
Lori.
Yeah.
So my name is Kathy, and I am the owner of Sassy Kathy's Vanilla Shop. I started this in the height of the pandemic because what better time to start a business? I have 18 years in corporate. I managed the credit department, and I was a relationship manager. And then I had three kids, rather close together. My twins came when
How close?
my first one was 19 months old. So we had
Okay.
three under two,
Okay. I
and
have
all
three
three
under two and a
girls.
half,
Okay,
but no
okay,
twins.
okay. So you understand.
I
You
get it.
understand. And so I did. I left corporate, and I left, and I stayed home because the pandemic came, and we were homeschooling three kids in junior and senior kindergarten, which in hindsight, I can't even believe we did that. But I still wanted to keep busy. I just didn't know how to sit and do nothing. So I started baking. Not something I have ever done. I am not a baker. And I just noticed I started going through a lot of vanilla. So I'm like, why don't I try making vanilla? And that's what I did. I made my first bottle of vanilla and it worked out pretty well. And I'm like, I wonder if I could try to make it and sell it. And that's exactly what I did. Now, if everybody remembers, all the stores were closed at that time. There were no markets, there were no events happening. So I started selling just through Facebook and Instagram. I didn't even have a website at that time. And between the start of my business at the end of October of 2020 until Christmas of 2020, I sold about 150 bottles. And it was just through social media and word of mouth. And that's how it all began.
Oh my gosh. So is there like this is maybe a dumb question, but like is there any reason you chose vanilla out of all of the things that you were baking to be the main focus?
So
Because
vanilla,
that just feels like something
yeah,
that we just
yeah,
normally
buy.
buy from a
Yeah.
store.
Well, I started reading about it, and vanilla, actually, store-bought vanilla is not really pure. It's watered down, it has other ingredients. And I'm like, let me see if I can make it. So I actually found two women that's moved to Canada from Madagascar, and they still have their farmers in Madagascar, and they import the beans. So I knew the one main ingredient you had to have for good vanilla was really good quality vanilla beans because I started doing some research on it. There were grades of vanilla beans, there were types of vanilla beans. So I knew I needed good grade vanilla beans. And so I connected with these two women and decided I'm going to support their business by purchasing the vanilla beans directly from them. And that's exactly what I did. I started purchasing vanilla beans from them, and I vanilla is pretty simple to make. It's just vanilla and alcohol, but there's different types of alcohol. So I did my research what kind of alcohol I wanted to use, and that's how I started making vanilla. I wanted to have it pure. I wanted to make sure that it was like a clean product. That's really important to me. The less additives, the better. And it was also important to me that I was able to support these two women
Mhm.
and their business venture, and so that's how it started with vanilla.
Love that. So is that part of kind of your marketing is that
Hmm.
it is pure and that you are aligned and supporting other women in business? Or I think you even mentioned to me yesterday,
Hmm.
you get your honey from farmers up
Yeah.
north.
Hmm.
And so it is a piece of your business model.
For me, I mean, I pride myself that while running my business, I can support other businesses, small businesses.
Mhm.
So I love that I can support these two women and their women-owned business here in Canada. And like we mentioned with the honey, I mean I expanded my business line. I went from just making vanilla and then making two different size bottles of vanilla to then making vanilla infused honey, vanilla infused maple syrup syrup, vanilla bean
Tell me about
jam.
this
Okay.
expansion. Like,
So, I
that
mean,
must
I
have been
knew
kind of
that,
fun.
yeah, I knew that, like, I started thinking and researching what can you add vanilla to? Really, you can add it to anything, but you have to add it to something that it complements the flavor, not that it throws it off. So that's why
Mhm.
I found that you can actually infuse honey and you can actually infuse maple syrup. So I'm not just buying store-bought honey or maple syrup and infusing it. What I'm doing is when we go up north, I purchase honey and maple syrup from farmers up north so that I can also support our farmers. First of all, it is pure. And second of all, we can support them by making this product. I can support them. So I do. So I started infusing vanilla into honey and maple syrup. And then I started expanding that by making gift favors out of those products too. So, for example, little honey jars are very popular as wedding favors or favors for sacrament season or baby to be favors for baby showers. And so
Baby
then I
to
started
be. I
thinking,
love it.
baby to be. So then I started thinking, how else can I expand? Because I mean, it's great that now there's three products, but it would be great to have a whole line of products. And that's when
Mhm.
I started making different favors, making loot bags for kids. My kids, with three kids, they're constantly coming home with, at that time, it was poppets, and it was just driving me nuts because it was just,
Dollar store
yeah,
crap.
yeah. And I couldn't. I'm not a hoarder. My kids are, and I just couldn't handle all these little things coming home. So I'm like, what can we make for birthdays that are fun for kids and that parents will actually appreciate their kids bringing home? So that's when I started making chocolate covered Oreos. And, everything has like some a hint of vanilla in there. Cookie kits, little
Mhm.
mini cookie kits where I just put
I
together a cookie
saw
kit, a
those on your
DIY cookie
website.
kit.
I think
Yeah.
they're genius. They
So
must
yeah,
do very
so
well at certain times.
yeah, they are. I mean, we've used them even for fundraisers at our school where we sell cookie kits and a portion of the proceeds go to our school. You can choose any shape or style of cookie. You can choose the color of sprinkles, and there's a little icing, and there's your cookie kit. And my big thing is I try to keep things very affordable and budget friendly. I get
Mhm.
it. These are not necessities, these are more nice to haves. And so that's
Mhm.
why I really try to keep things budget friendly so that people can afford to put them into loot bags or pair them with a gift card, and there you have a loot bag. It's really important to me to try to keep things as simple for people when they're having an event as possible.
Yeah. I feel like what I can tell is that you're creative. And that like it feels like you're one of those, and this is me too, where my brain is always working, always expanding, and you're always kind of thinking about like what's next or what can I try or how can I expand or grow my business. So I even when we were chatting yesterday, you talked about so many different strategies that you've
Hmm.
tried,
Hmm.
since you started this
Yeah.
business, some that have worked,
Hmm.
some that haven't worked, but I always tell people that you get something from every single thing that you
Hmm.
do and you just kind of
Hmm.
have to keep trying things.
Hmm.
Can we chat about
Yeah.
just some of those strategies?
So it's funny that you mentioned though about the creativity because I was probably the least creative person you have ever met. I do not have
Really?
a back. Oh, totally. I do not have a background in marketing. I did not have a creative bone in my body, and somehow this ignited this creativity in me. Like, I we scroll on our phones. I often scroll. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could, combine this and make this type of product, or won't it be fun to have this as like a gift favor? And often I will, like we mentioned, trying different avenues. I will even engage with my followers and ask, is this something that you could imagine purchasing, or what kind of product would you like me to start making? Because I'm always open to ideas. But I have tried different avenues. For me, markets and events where I can showcase and sell my product and explain why my vanilla is better than store-bought vanilla are the best. But once
I
I
can see
started
that.
making products because a bottle of my vanilla is definitely or pure vanilla is definitely more expensive than the store-bought vanilla. And once you start explaining to people why, they're like, okay, and my vanilla, because it's pure, you only have to use half of what a recipe calls for. And so then you
Mm.
realize, okay, well, this bottle is actually going to last me a lot longer than I expected.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
markets are really good for me. But then a lot of the markets were outside in the springtime, and those were not good for me because a lot of my products are chocolate covered. Chocolate
Right.
covered does not do well in the heat. So then I
No, it
had
does not.
no. So then I had to pivot to doing markets only really in the fall time. So I needed something to fill up my spring. So that's when I tried
Mm.
putting my products into stores. So stores where you basically rent shelving, you pay monthly rent, and they sell your product for you. Um, that worked, but that worked best for me closer to the holidays,
Oh.
when I could put together gift baskets or products specific to a specific holiday happening. Those attracted people more. So I did try it. Wasn't the most successful. May try it again in the future, but I now know what time of year is best for me to put my product in the store. So I've learned that. Then I thought about making gift baskets and engaging with, for example, real estate agents. So
Mm.
creating closing gifts for them or thank you gifts at the holidays for them. And so that's what I'm really trying to, that's sort of like an area that I'm really still trying to grow. I do have a few agents that I work with and I do create their gifts for them. But I would like to expand that more. So that's definitely something that is one of my goals for my business is to expand that line of business. I think it would be great if I could do that.
And when you make those kind of gift baskets, is it all
Hmm.
your products or
Yep.
are there other things that you put in there? Like
Yep.
what's,
Yep. So
oh,
I'm very flexible. I have worked with mortgage brokers before, where, for example, they gave me some of their promotional products and we added some of my products and we created a beautiful gift basket. I have worked with agents that we did the exact same thing. I've also collaborated with other businesses where I have put in, for example, their products. So I recently collaborated for Mother's Day, where I connected with a candle business and we put in her candle. We titled it A Very Vanilla and my vanilla extract. And it was a very vanilla basket for Mother's Day. It's something simple, but it's incorporating other businesses, which I think it's so fun. It's fun doing that too.
yeah. And it kind of goes back to some of your values around your business where you want to support. But I also think
Mm-hmm.
strategically
Mm-hmm.
working with other small businesses can be a
Mm-hmm.
really good way to get the word
Yep.
out about your business because I
Yeah.
did see the candle collab and I
Mm-hmm.
saw it on both of your accounts, which is
Yeah.
smart.
And that's what I was going to say that, I have, this many followers and this many people that look at my account, but other business have this many followers that look at their account and now they're looking at both of our accounts. So we are doubling our audience. And so that's what I think is fantastic by working with others. And you never know when, what that opportunity could create for you in the future.
Yeah, and I think you also just never know when an idea or when a
Mm-hmm.
collab or when an initiative will take
Mm-hmm.
off and be
Yep.
the thing that leads you to
Yep.
something massive inside your
Yep.
business.
Yep. Well, a few years ago, I had somebody following me, and I didn't realize that they worked for Sony, and they were representing the artist Marshmello, and they were doing his release of his latest music, and they connected with me because I make marshmallow pops to see if I could actually make his head the that he wears on the marshmallow, and I did, and they used my marshmallows
That
for
is
their
amazing.
release. That was a big highlight for me. My big thing was I had to create the stencil. I had my printer create it, and then I made one. And I asked my kids, "What is this?" And they knew right away. So I'm like, "Okay, they know this is good." And so yeah, so my marshmallows were at Sony, and they were used for Marshmallows release party.
That is very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask you because you just seem
Hmm.
to be trying a lot of things. Like, what's
Hmm.
a dream that you have for your business? That's
Um,
a hard question, I know,
that's a
but
hard question. I mean, I always started this business not expecting to take over the world with my vanilla, but just hoping that I can be home and spend time with my kids. And
yeah.
also for my kids to see that if I am home, I am still creating and doing something. And one of my three kids, for example, she loves to bake. And I think that this has come as a result of this because we're constantly baking and trying new things. And they see me
Mhm.
working on orders, so that's big for me. That was always big for me. Time goes by really fast. And even though I was in the home, I didn't want the kids to not see me, working on something and creating something, and being involved in creating something. So that's a really big thing for me. The other thing is really just being the person, the go-to person to help others with, being like the one-stop shop for their events when they need something like a gift favor. So, for example, for a wedding, don't worry, I will take care of that for you. I will
Mhm.
everything from the sample to creating the item to working with you to create your customized item if that's what you're looking for, to creating the label, everything that you need. Don't worry about it. I will take care of that. That's my big thing. So I would love to be the person that everybody comes to for those types of events. And so that's sort of a dream of it, mine.
I love that. And I feel like that if you couple that with
Hmm.
partnerships with real estate
Yeah,
agents and mortgage agents, like
yeah.
that can lead to a very sustainable business,
Hmm.
right? Where you can
Hmm.
actually anticipate the number of
Yes.
sales that you're going to make, which I
Yeah.
imagine for a handmade and also a product that doesn't live forever, that's
Hmm.
probably a goal.
Yeah, so even though the vanilla, because it's pure, has an infinite shelf life, and actually the longer
Oh,
it
it
sits, the
does.
better it does because it's pure. Like I said, there's just two ingredients, vanilla beans and alcohol, and the longer it sits, the stronger it gets. So it's the vanilla has an infinite shelf life. But for a lot of my other products, like for example, the chocolate covered Oreos or shortbread cookies or chocolate dipped pretzels, I mean, there's just so long they can sit. So that's
Mhm.
why it's also hard to put them into stores, and also hard to plan for markets. I mean, markets are so hit and miss, and it's not like I can keep my product for the next market few weeks down. I really pride myself on creating everything fresh and ready to go for specific markets and not keeping it sitting because I want people to experience or taste it when it's fresh, not sitting or frozen or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So that's something also with markets that I had to learn what markets work for me and know how much I have to create for the market, so that it doesn't sit because then it's waste.
Is there any kind of rule of thumb in terms of figuring out how much to make for a market?
I now know what markets work for me, so I do tend to
So
sign up for
tell me what
them.
that looks like.
Yeah,
What's a
so I
market you
mean,
would
I
sign up?
have attended various markets. I've gone to markets, for example, even as far as close to Guelph. But the problem is that shipping is very expensive for me. So even if somebody buys my product and then doesn't see me for a year because it's an annual market and they want my product, for me to ship it out, 'cause all my containers really are glass, it's very expensive. So that's
Mhm.
definitely something that I run into trouble. And I've learned that maybe I need to do markets closer to home because shipping sometimes costs more than the actual product costs, which is hard. It's definitely a challenge and something that I learned early on. So I've learned that I need to do closer markets, where people can come, for example, come to my home to pick up, or one of the stores that I have the products in, they can go there to pick up. Because as much as, as great as that I can engage with people further away from my immediate area, if they want a restock, shipping is the problem.
Right. And for events, I imagine
Hmm.
that it is more convenient if they're closer to you
Of
because you are
course.
making large
Of
amounts,
course.
and to ship that would be
Yeah,
astronomical.
no, not only that, but shipping cookies or whatever it may be, that's hard. I mean, I don't even know if they'd arrive there in one piece. So, it has to be something where somebody can pick up, or we can meet at a common location, or I can deliver it to.
Mhm.
But shipping is not easy in
Mhm.
my little business.
Yeah. But I love that you tried so many different things so that you kind of know what works, but
Hmm.
also what works for you and what doesn't so
Yeah.
that you can make the proper
Mhm.
pivots.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've tried. And now I sort of know what works for my little business. I know spring markets don't work. I know that markets in certain areas, I do certain, there's a lot of markets that you pay for. Well, you have to pay for all markets. Some markets the fee is higher than the others.
Yeah.
But then you realize that, what you're selling a lot more at those markets. They have a large amount of people coming through. Your name gets out a lot more. And I've met people, sometimes they just take my business card, they see my products, they touch them, they see them, they understand what I'm making, and then they connect with me because they want me, for example, I've done weddings as a result of that. I've done baby showers, I've done client gifts, and I've gained a lot of repeat customers because of that. It's an opportunity to meet people and chat with people and people to get to know me, and you
Mhm.
form relationships like that. So I really like the face-to-face interactions. I think that says a lot. Like it creates some type of relationship there.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, like what you said earlier, how there are a lot of elements that when you share, it
Hmm.
connects people to your
Yeah.
product in a bigger way.
Yeah. Yeah. I met, for example, a mom and a daughter at a market years ago, and then I ended up doing her gift favors for her wedding. And they now come with with her child that she's had since she's gotten married to almost every market that I do locally. And I just love that support. I love that
Yeah.
support. It's so nice. You build these relationships, and so you have a lot of repeat customers, referrals as a result of that. And for small businesses, it's how you get your name out there. You have to get your name out there. And repeat business is fantastic. I mean, this year though, I don't even know how, but 90% of my customers have been brand new customers. And so that's really exciting for me because as much as I love repeat customers, that means my name is getting out there. And so maybe it is these markets. Maybe
Yeah.
they are taking, they take your card, they scan your social media, and you're like, hopefully they connect. And they do. At some point they come back and they order, and I love
And
it.
I
I
think
love
that's
it.
because you have such a unique product,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Like
Yep.
when I used to sell, like there's different things that I've gone to
Hmm.
markets with, but there's certain things where when they walk away from your booth,
Hmm.
there's something similar three booths down. So it
Yeah.
doesn't leave a
Yeah.
lasting
Yep.
impression.
Yep.
You have something very unique that they remember afterwards
Yep.
and probably serves some types of needs.
Yeah, so I mean, I have had people come up and said, "Oh, I used to go to Mexico often, get vanilla from there, but I'm going to try yours because I'm not going there this year, or nobody's really going there to bring it back for me." And I said, "Listen, try it." And then I always love to connect with people after and say, "What did you think?" And every single person has said, "Oh, this is good vanilla," and I'm like, "Yeah, because it's pure vanilla, it's pure vanilla."
That. Okay, I love ending by asking, like, if you had a new entrepreneur and they were
Hmm.
just getting started, and let's say that it's a product-based business since that's what you're in, what piece of advice would you give them for getting started?
Hmm. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's and be open to changing, because like I've mentioned throughout our chat, I've had to change many times. I mean, you think you spring markets are fantastic, and then your product starts melting, so you move into stores and maybe that doesn't go well. You have to be open to change and constantly, I'm always constantly thinking, what's next? What's next? Where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? And I love chatting, and be open to chatting to other people, other entrepreneurs, other small business owners, and asking them, what are you doing? What do you think? Like sharing ideas, being open to receiving feedback. I think that's so important. Just like listening to what others are doing, networking with other people, because you never know what collaborations can come out of it. You never know, what ideas, or you never know what, like a conversation with somebody can spark an idea in you. And that's happened to me before, like, just a simple conversation with another parent about, for example, loot bags, and it sparks an idea in you. So just be really open, be ready to change, because just because your first idea doesn't work doesn't mean it's never going to work. Something will work.
Yeah, I think markets are a prime example for you.
Hmm.
Spring markets didn't
Hmm.
work, but fall markets are incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Especially last year, and in the last 5, 6 years that I've been doing markets, last fall has been fantastic. Um, and it's just even chatting with other businesses at these markets. There's no rhyme or reason why. There's no, it just, I mean, we don't know. We
Sometimes
just
it
don't
is.
know. But it just sometimes, people want to support small. They come out. So it's, but
I
yeah.
do think we're moving into a time. I think we kind of we
Mhm,
went through this lull where we
mhm,
didn't want
mhm.
to be in kind of social scenarios and all that. And I do think like everybody's coming out of this fog right now
I agree.
and wants to be with other
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it's bringing back that opportunity for small
Mhm,
businesses.
mhm. I agree. I think everybody likes connecting, having that interaction. And so, for example, last fall, like I mentioned, it was fantastic. Like market season was fantastic. I did 6 markets in 4 weeks, hosting one of our own at my children's school, and it was just fantastic. The amount of support is just was incredible. And so it definitely it boosts you. It definitely boosts you.
It
So
does. It
yeah,
does. And it
yeah,
leads to other opportunities because
yeah.
you are building awareness,
Mhm.
you are meeting new people,
Yeah.
and you're putting your products in front of new people.
For sure, for sure. That's the best way to do if you can get those products in front of people. Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with
Thank
me.
you. Thank you, Lori. I
Anytime.
appreciate it.
Oh, tell us where we can find you, both
Sure.
website and
Mhm.
Instagram.
Sure. So my website is Sassy Cathy's, that's with a K, vanillashop.com. So Sassy Cathy's vanillashop.com. I am also on Instagram. It's Instagram.com, sassy underscore Cathy underscore vanilla underscore shop.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.